Hello, guys. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Happy Monday. Happy start to your week. So, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the very first year of the Jefferson nickel. All right. So, we did the Lincoln cent last week, and this is going to be a series that we will continue on probably until we get to the Kennedy half dollar. So we're gonna kind of like chronicle um, the very first issue of the more recent design of coin that we see every day. So the Jefferson nickel, this one here with the original Felix Schlegel artwork of the bust on the obverse, and then the same old Monticello on the reverse. This is going to be the coin that we're going to focus on. So theoretically, this is probably the coin that today you could still find out in circulation pretty regularly. I've found a fair amount of these. Um, uh, the mint had produced Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mint issues of this coin, and I have found multiples of every single mint mark. The Philadelphia doesn't have a physical mint mark, but we'll talk about that one here. So we've talked about each and every single coin, not talked about, but I found every single one of them, just by simply going through bankrolls. And strangely enough, I have found multiple examples that are in like that AU to mint state condition. So there's a lot of them. I don't know if they're like old collection dumps or set breaks or anything like that ended up getting put back into circulation, but over the years, and especially since what was it 1999, I actually worked in a casino in Western Nevada, and that was still a time of day, man, where people were still pumping in just physical coin into the slot machines, quarters, nickels, or even dime machines, if you could believe that, as well. Half dollars and dollars. Dollars were the casino tokens for those particular machines. But yeah, nickels were always fun to look at because you would get the big buckets that people will bring to you at the casino cage, and you have to dump them in the machine to count them. So that way you could give the actual physical paper money to the customer, so they could go leave or go back to playing some more. But the machines used to dump out coin, and that was a really cool thing. Your hands would get all like dark and nasty, and some of you probably remember that. But nickels were always fun to look for. We were always looking for the wartime silvers from 42 to 45. We were looking for the 50D. That was always a big one. 38 and 39 PDNSs as well was a lot of fun to look for. And they kind of stick out like a sore thumb because the original designs, they had a little bit higher relief than some of the other subsequent coins, that go on afterwards from this. So the new design of nickel wasn't at first met with a lot of fanfare. People loved the outgoing Buffalo nickel design. And because of that, 1938 was a changeover date. They produced the final year of the Buffalo nickel in 38, only at the Denver Mint. And then all three of the Jefferson nickels, P, D, and S, were produced during the same year. Um, a lot more of the Buffalo nickels were saved in spite of its much lower mintage. Now, as far as mintage is concerned, 7,020,000 Buffalo nickels were produced in 1938 at the Denver Mint. When we look at the Jefferson nickels, the Philadelphia, believe it or not, is actually a very light mintage. 19,496,038D, which is a coin that we see here on screen. 5,376,000, and the S Mint, which is quite tough, 4,105,000. If we compare that to maybe one of the other key dates, the 1950D, 2,630,030. All right, and that's a coin that routinely, doesn't matter what grade it is, sells for about $8 to $10 on the open market, especially a much circulated example. The 39D, which some would speculate is going to be the second key date of the series, is at 3,514,000. So, with that information, if we take the lowest minted 38 at the San Francisco Mint coin at 4.1 million, it's not so much higher than the 39D, which again, that's another coin that sells in that $8 to $10 range. True mid-state examples sell for a lot more than that. I've sold them for as high as $40 to $50 a piece, ungraded. So we're going to be taking a look, talking about values of each one of the PDNS Mint coins, so that way you guys have that handy if you do come across these in your roll hunts, or maybe you come across one in a collection and you recognize it as being the very first year of the new age Jefferson nickel, then you'll know exactly where the value lies on that. So the first one that we have here is the 1938D. This is the Denver minted coin. All right, this one has a little bit of color on there. You know, the nickel composition doesn't tone too good. All right, they usually tone very light, almost like a pastel color, or they just don't tone at all. This one seems to have some pretty good color, or the seller just really did a lights out job at the photography of this coin because it looks great. The mint marks on these earlier coins pre 1965 are going to be on the reverse just to the right of the building of Monticello. So it's kind of socked in this little empty area between the right facade of the building and the rim. All right. But that's only for the Denver and San Francisco coins. So if you do come across any pre 1965 nickel, you can always flip it over and check for the mint mark. So this particular coin right here is sold on eBay here within the last, I would say, 12 hours for $16. All right. So this one right here, $16. I would imagine that the coin probably had a little help on the market based off of its original color. All right. So, that's kind of like one of the more higher sales, but I did a general search, 1938 Jefferson nickel, and I went and did just sold listings, and that's why you see all of the sold prices in green. We're going to focus primarily on the singular coins, not so much the sets here or any other kind of weird presentation, but single coins. There's that 38D that just sold within moments ago, $16. Here's a 38S that sold for $1.99, 69 cents for shipping. This one right here is a pretty well circulated example. All right, so we look up at the close-ups. There you go. While this is the key date at 4.1 million pieces, grade still really does matter. Now, this particular seller here had 83 of them, so probably a big old massive roll hunt campaign produced many, many copies of this particular coin, and then he or she ended up selling them for $1.99. All right, so this is, and they even put here in the flavor text, besides the 1950D and 39D, this is the next more difficult date to find, and I agree with that. There's no other coin. The 39S in comparison is 6.6 million. All right, so yeah, pretty tough one. So yeah, that's not the best example of a 38S that we have seen sold. Here's a 38p. 38ps are generally inexpensive. They're usually a buck or two. People really do pay a dollar or two for the P mint and circulated grades like VFXF low end AU. Just as kind of like an album filler. Here's the 38D, another one that's circulated, $2.89. Here's a nicer one, $6.50, but they did charge $4 for shipping, and that's with 5 bids. There's a kind of like a number of them in one lot. That's why it's sold for $12, $3, $4. There's a graded one right there for $19.99. So that's a mid-state 65. That is a really nice grade, but it's a P mint. It's one of the more readily available dates there. $1.81 for this one here. It actually looks pretty good. It says BU beautiful. So 3 bids. This one is probably sold overnight, like really late in the evening, because it's August 18th on there. So that's the key date there. That's sold for a couple dollars. There's a 38D, nice BU coin, $3.25, and the like. Here's a BU. This is a true blue 30AD BU coin. And this particular one right here is a really nice lustrous example, $10, and they had 39 of them. So they had quite the volume of them. It probably was a BU roll, and BU rolls, by the way, of these dates are not cheap. They are not cheap at all. So we're not going to focus on any varieties or anything to look at for these. The coins are pretty. Full steps, which is generally what graded nuts care about on these. They're actually prevalent on. You look at any BU coin, they're going to have either 4 or 5 steps right off the rip. They are very well struck, and the Mint did a really good job, as they do on every new release of design coin, to have really nice details. Like this one here, the pictures aren't fantastic, but you can tell that there's some steps on there. All right, so yeah, that's a pretty solid sale. So, at the end of the day, if you were looking to obtain some nice raw examples of these coins, you could get them for a relatively good rate. The 38D and S, 10, $15 in BU. There are, anomalies like this one here. It's sold for $75. They do guarantee full steps. Gem BU, like what's that? Mid State 65 or higher. It does have steps, but you do see a couple contact marks in there. So, maybe it's a stretch, but they did sell it. They did sell for $75. And there's like groups of them. You could buy like bulk, and then fill up an album pretty easily. They're gonna be all circulated coins, but as you can tell, the prices are very reasonable for nice quality pieces. If you were selling them, understand that they are worth more than 5 cents. You're not going to get rich off of these by any stretch, but just to let you guys know that the coins raw, if you don't grade them, they're going to do okay. You're going to end up on average selling them for about $5-10 a piece, especially on mid-state level coins. And circulated, I'm not going to say they're a dime a dozen. The mintages are all relatively light across the board for 1938, but just understand that they have a considerable amount of value above and beyond 5 cents. So, graded's where it's at, ladies and gents. We're on PCGS's website right here. To give you an idea, there's one coin on the list in full steps in a Mint State 68 plus. Right over here, kind of hits you hard like a ton of bricks. $35,000. There is a pretty substantial registry set desirability and need for the first year of Jefferson nickels, and this is a classic case of if you wanted to partake into finding registry set coins that you could send off to PCGS, it could be incredibly lucrative, but you have to be patient as well. You might end up spending a little bit of money to realize some of the big potential with this trio of first year Jeffersons. So, it's not something that pops up every day. That I could tell you. I mean, if you look at the actual coins, this one right here, full stepper, it looks okay. That bottom step right there is a little questionable. But this one, they have graded as a 68 plus full steps. 68 and that plus symbol, the plus symbol is pretty much a 0.5. It's a half a point higher on there. But boy, look at the eye appeal on this sucker. This is a wildly toned specimen. And I would imagine that these type of coins are just incredible rocket ships of power, in a registry set. There's one example, one lone 68 plus, and that's going to be this coin right here. That's sold for $33,600. Doesn't that absolutely make you sick that there is a potential for that kind of money on this coin? That's sold on Heritage Auctions in the not too distant past, July 2022. And that is a registry set staple right there, ladies and gentlemen. The second wave or second tier, the mid-state 68s, they have a price guide value of 4,200. There are 7 at that grade, and this is, by the way, a 38D. All right, not the the key, which is a 38S. $2,600 back in 2020. $3,900 also in 2020. All right, there hasn't been any others since, unless Great Collections maybe sold one. Um, let's go ahead and check out that S-Mint real quick, which is down here. They have $5,000 in the 67 plus. So they may not have any 68s logged in yet, which I can imagine would be just incredible. But look at the beauty on this one. 38S. My God. um, yeah, these are absolute gems right here. Let's see if any of them have sold, and there has, through Stack's Bowers. So a couple PCGS ones here. They have a price guide value in 67 plus at $5,000. Pop 6. There's 6 graded. 2020 on Stack's Bowers, $2,640. In March of 2019, $6,600. And there was also an NGC coin. That's this other subline here. December 2022 for $2,400, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, pretty big money on the registry set scene. The likelihood that you'll find any of these higher end coins out of circulation in this particular grade state is going to be next to impossible. You're going to have to look at some old archived album, with a little bit of toning like this one here. Or if you're lucky enough to find a BU roll of 38Ss, yeah, you're going to have a lot of fun. And the money might come flying at you. It's going to be that crazy. So, full steps or nothing on these guys. Well, it's going to go ahead and do it. That was the 1938 Jefferson nickel. A quick little glance at the coins and the value and what to look for. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in on this video. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It's always a pleasure. I hope you guys are enjoying this hobby as much as I am. There's a lot to look for here, and there's a lot of fun at all different budget levels. All right, so I want to thank you guys again. Have a good one. Enjoy this hobby. Thank you again for all your views and support, and I will see you next time with another great, outstanding coin video. So long.